So let's have a little chat, shall we? I was really spirited earlier today. Well, earlier yesterday, I had to get some shit off my chest. I just I had to do that. See, when you're connected to spirit, you know how to channel that energy the right way. I wanted to come through and I wanted to talk more about me being accused of dabbling with the devil and all that old type of bull crap. And, I told you all, me and my friend, we had a misunderstanding. We always have misunderstandings. It's just what it is. Because he comes from a different background than I do. He comes from a totally different background. He comes from an unstable background, where I come from a stable background, well, more stable than his background. And that's not a shot at him. It's just what it is. He comes from this manly, misogynistic type of energy, whereas I don't. I don't because I was raised more so around. I was raised around men, of course, but I spent most of my time with the women in my family, and there's nothing wrong with that. People try to shame people and say, oh, it's something wrong with that. That's the same way that people try to shame, some single mothers. And there are single mothers that are very much capable of raising decent, hardworking citizens. So let's not let that bamboozle you. And to me, when you say things like, or when you try to convince people that something is true that is not true, to me, that is demonic. Let me break down my interpretation of demonic. Everybody has their own interpretation because I want to talk more about this because it's going to open up, it's opening up to, or it's going to open up, excuse me, a more deeper conversation about this on a spiritual level. Because most of the time, when people are dealing with demons, they find out when it's too late. They find out when it's too late. And it doesn't have to be a demon. There are demons people never even heard of. There are demons that your personal demons that you create that you don't even recognize or acknowledge. And they're not there to hurt you, but they're there. They may cause some discord in your life, but ultimately you have power and dominion over anything that's going on in your mind. But when you have a fear mindset, such as my friend, I understand where it's coming from now. He's afraid because he's taught to be afraid of everything. That is what religion does. It teaches and it breeds fear. You're supposed to fear God. You're supposed to fear the wrath. And the fear of God is nothing more than fearing being separated. But that ties in when you're separated from God, you're separated from spirit. Because the spirit is God and the spirit is what lasts forever. So the fear is really not being afraid in human terms of some type of backlash or punishment. That is what it has been made into by these fake, fraudulent prophets in these churches so they can continue sucking off of your energy and taking your money and taking your essence and misusing and misquoting and abusing the scriptures for their own purposes. No, fear of God is fear of separation. and fear of lack of spirit, or or not being connected to spirit, which is being disconnected from the God within you. So all of this that I'm saying is I'm making a point here. I had to have compassion for my friend. I sat in meditation and I said, you know what? I have to have compassion for him because he knows not what he does. Since he's so, religious, I'm going to speak in his language. He knows not what he does. And if he's up to it, I may bring him on so we can have a conversation about this. I may bring him on and we're going to have a conversation about this because it needs to be talked about. You know? Yeah, I said the things I said in the prior video because I'm human. I was hurt. He hurt my feelings by the things he said to me the other day when we had that altercation. He said things that really hurt my spirit. He hurt my feelings. I'm human. And I responded accordingly. Now he doesn't know I made that video. And he and I share the same goddamn computer. We share the same computer. It's mine, but we share it. Because there's work he can do on this computer that he can't do on his because my computer is more fancy and expensive. As a matter of fact, it just updated to that Windows 11 not that long ago. But let's talk about using spirit, because he said to me, this is the devil talking about my altars because of what's on my altars. And that is what made me explode on him. Child, I started throwing his clothes on the floor. I said, you want to see demonic? I started throwing his clothes on the floor. I was going to throw his ass out that night. I was already upset with him for the main reason that we were arguing. But I was going to throw his ass out of here that night. See, I'm a real motherfucking spiritualist. I'm going to show you and tell you my iniquities. I don't care who has a problem with it. You can't use something to shame me that I'm putting out. See, you have to tell your own story with no shame and no regret. See, that is part of commanding the universe. Because I have my own personal demons too. And I'm not ashamed to say that. But the difference between myself and other people is that I'm going to tell you. I'm going to tell you. I go through shit just like you. I'm not perfect. I'm a perfect, imperfected being of the motherfucking universe. I'm not perfect. I have my shit with me too. I'm not perfect. And I'm not going to sit here and say that I'm perfect. I'm not going to sit here and say that I don't have issues. But me sharing these things with other people, maybe it can give them some incentive on how they can handle things maybe better. And it's no shame in doing that. Remember, never be afraid of being human. We're here to have these experiences so we can learn in the long run. And then if we have to come back into the physical realm after we transition, then maybe we will get it. It will get better the next time. You understand what I'm saying? So I don't think that nothing is in vain. Unless you are truly a low vibrating demonic person. Now, I'm about justice. I'm about justice. And I believe that you can use, no, I know, you can use your magic to send things back to people who have harmed you. It's the intention. Where I think the line is drawn where it becomes demonic is when you start going after innocent people because you're jealous of them or because you want what they have. I think that is where the line straddles, or where the line becomes thin, where it becomes demonic. Mind control is a form of demonology or demonic energy. When you're putting people up under mind control, enslaving people is a form of demonology and demonic energy as well. That's part of that. When people are afflicted with certain drug addictions is a demonic energy. A lot of y'all smoking this new version of weed, that's a whole new demon right there. Or as people would say, that's demon time. This new weed is not natural. It's not natural cess. There is a demonic energy attached to that. And I don't give a fuck who gets offended about it. I'm not telling you not to smoke it. I'm just telling you what it is. And it's okay if you want to smoke weed occasionally and do what you want to do. I'm not telling people not to imbibe or not to indulge in that. That's cool. But you have to understand you have to do that in moderation, like you have to do everything in moderation. Shit, I have to learn to eat ice cream in moderation, child. I'm learning. Shit, you know? That's a demon too. So when people talk about demons, they don't really understand what they're talking about sometimes. And I'm speaking of my friend because he comes from a religious background and he thinks a demon, oh, Satan is a demon. That's a demon. No, Satan is in a totally different hierarchy. No, that demon is you going down to your car smoking weed all the time. That demon is you always drinking beer. That demon is that you can't stop having sex with multiple people. I'm talking about in general, not my friend. Because I used to be afflicted with the demon of sex. I used to be afflicted with that demon. I couldn't get enough penis. Couldn't get enough of it. But that's because there was a void in me that needed to be filled. And that type of sex demonic energy was filling it at that time. And even when I was up under that form of, I guess you can say, possession, even then I still maintained some control because there were certain things I wasn't going to do. I wasn't going to let no nigga, now excuse me for saying this so people were sensitive, but I wasn't going to let niggas cream pie me in my ass. I've never had sex raw in my ass. I ain't never done that. I've never had that happen to me, and that's why I'm walking around with no HIV or none of that other stuff, which can be a demon past. Some people call them deities, some people call them demons. Those sexually transmitted diseases, which I believe are forms of demons as well. But it's all left up to your interpretation of what you believe, you know? But I realized I had to have compassion for my friend. I had to have compassion for him. Even though he angers me, even though he misunderstands me, and I misunderstand him, I had to have compassion for him because I realized when it comes to this type of stuff, he doesn't understand it. He doesn't understand it because he was raised Jehovah's Witness. And that's similar to Christianity. So they believe everything is demonic outside of Jehovah, which if they really do their research, they would understand that Jehovah is a demiurge energy. Demiurge energies are also demonic energies. The undertone of them are demonic energies because they suck your energy. You're worshiping it and you're worshiping it. You can turn deities into demons if you're giving them all of your energy. See, my definition, the definition really of demonic possession is when you're giving all of your energy to something outside of you. That is why so many people in that misogynistic church are so fucked up, because they're giving all of their energy to this deity that they call God, the Father. They're giving all of their energy to this deity, but they're not getting anything in return. That is demonic. When you're in a relationship with somebody, whether it be a male or female, female and female, male and male, you know, but I'm going to stick with, male, male and male, female and female, because this is my gay, this is a gay channel. I'm a gay person. When you're giving all of your energy to your partner, or, heterosexuals, it don't matter. When you're giving all of your energy to your partner and you're not getting anything in return, that person is probably up under some type of demonic influence and doesn't even know it. When you are shut off from your spirit, you are susceptible to demonic, let's just say, influence. Because when you're connected to spirit, you know what's up. You know how to defend yourself. And you're blocked from a lot of that stuff. A lot of that stuff can't have effect. It will not have an effect on you. It doesn't mean that some things won't have an effect on you, because there is a hierarchy, in demonology. All demons are not bad, and all demons are not good, just like all angels are not good, and all angels are not bad. There's a hierarchy in everything. A hierarchy for everything. Because demons, when they're in a certain hierarchy, it represents knowledge and light and consciousness. See, a lot of those conscious niggas, a lot of them are up under demonic influence. But the thing is, they're tapping into knowledge, because there's certain forms of demonology that gives you light, which is knowledge. The deities deal more with wisdom. That's why I go with the wisdom, because with the wisdom, you're going to automatically get the knowledge. That's why I really don't deal with demons that much, except for one. And I'm not going to mention which one I deal with. That's my personal business. Except one. And even with that, I'm tapping into that energy that's already within me. Because as Black people, we have these energies in us already. That is why they are so afraid of us. Because all of these energies, demons, fairies, all of that is encoded in our DNA and in our genetics anyway. But the problem is, we go looking outside for forces when they're already in us. And when you go outside of yourself looking for something, that's the problem. Hence, Jehovah, like my friend. Jehovah didn't protect him from getting robbed at gunpoint. Because see, when you have a discerning spirit and when you're connected to spirit, most of the time your spirit will give you the intuition to say, hey, wait a minute. Maybe you shouldn't go to this person's house that particular day. Or maybe you shouldn't deal with this person anymore. Or maybe you should back away. See, that's what happens when you're connected to spirit. But when you are connected to a low vibrating demon, like in those religions or cults, when you're connected to that, you don't have any discernment. And again, it depends on what demon you're connected to or what demon is connected or attached to you. I don't deal with anything that's outside of me. See, I know how to tap into my subconscious and find out what is appropriate for me. What are the energies that are appropriate for you? Or I will go to someone that is reputable, and I will have them help me to understand that. And most of the time, it's probably going to be a black woman. I really don't, black male spiritualists, I don't really, no, I don't fool with them. I'm not going to say all of them. You know what I'm saying? There's some of them that I do watch on YouTube, but, no, let's just say no. Most of the time when I have a spiritual question or when I have a spiritual issue, I go to black women. And I'm not apologetic about that. But I have compassion and I'm about justice. When I do my work, whatever I do for me, I'm not talking about what I do for other people. When I do my work, I did work on one person because she was fucking with my family. And I turned her life upside down, inside out, because she was fucking with my family and she almost got my relative seriously hurt playing games with the police. She lied. What she did was she lied on my elderly mother. My mother's elderly, okay? She lied on my mother and told the police that my mother hit her when my mother did not hit her. Now, my mother did grab her, but she told them that my mother punched her in the face. And that could have led to my mother being seriously hurt. I turned that bitch's life upside down, inside out, and in every way motherfucking possible. Because that was justice. That was my intent. I will do stuff like that. But I'm not going to do stuff to harm people simply because I'm jealous of the person, which I'm not jealous of anybody. But, out of jealousy or simply because I don't like that person. No, that person has to have done something to me or be a threat to my community around me. If they are a threat to the community and the stability of my community, I have every right to make sure that they're taken care of the proper way. But if you don't bother me, I'm not going to bother you. But when you are a person who is jealous and spiteful and petty, that is demonic. That is demonic. And I'm not really preaching this to the people that watch me. I'm saying this because my friend, when we were arguing, said that I was dabbling with demons and devils. And he doesn't understand the hierarchy. He doesn't understand certain things. So I just wanted to put this out for people. So if someone accuses you of this, you can break that shit down to them and say, hey, look, you don't know what you're talking about. Especially when you're dealing with someone who comes from a religious background. I don't care about people's religion. But what you will not do is fuck with me about mine. You will not do that. And that is why I don't allow people access to me here on YouTube. Or too much anyway. I don't allow too much access to me because I don't want to deal with that bullshit. Because if you send something to me, whether it be by words or anything else, if I feel as though that you're trying to attack my spirit, I'm going to attack yours. And you don't want me to do that. Trust me, you don't want them problems out of me. You would rather just be silent and go on about your business. You don't want them problems. Trust me. Because what I got, ain't nobody else got. And that makes it a powerful fucking weapon. when nobody else knows what you got. See, I'm not eating off the same plate that a lot of other people are. See, a lot of other people are eating off the same plate, fucking with the same deities and stuff. I'm fucking with shit that people don't even know, and I'm making my own shit out of it. I'm not just going by what other people say. I'm making it into my own. That is what I do as the occult view. I'm about justice and compassion. I have compassion for certain people. Don't get it twisted. I have compassion for certain people. For certain people. I have compassion for my friend because I have love for him and I have respect for him, even though he angers me and even though we have disagreements. But I still have respect and compassion for him. And my spirit said, Seer, you said what you said. You all get into it. You said what you had to say. Now have compassion. Understand. Now really listen and understand where he's coming from. When it comes to this, he has a childlike mindset and he doesn't understand it. See, I know about this stuff. I know what I know. I know what I know, and can't no motherfucking body tell me shit unless I ask. But can't nobody solicit shit to me about spirit, not mine. But I'm about justice and compassion. And justice and compassion have nothing to do with demonic stuff. When you're spiteful, when you're petty, when you're jealous, when you're manipulative, when you're trying to put people up under mind control, that is when you are being demonic. That is forms of demonic activity. When you go around trying to do work on people and, putting people in jars and burning candles on people and chanting and Gloria and Marci and tu and Dudie and Marci and Gorende, you know, trying to cause people harm. To me, just because you're jealous. Now, if a person did something to you, you have every right to return that. I believe in returning favors. But when you're doing shit just to harm people, when you're doing shit just out of spite, just because, oh, I don't like that bitch or I don't like that nigga, I don't like what they saying, there's a lot of people that have said things that I don't like here on YouTube, but I'm not wasting my time doing no motherfucking work on them. I'm not doing that. I just don't watch those people as long as they don't fucking bother me. I remember it was this dude on YouTube a long time ago. This Hispanic or Mexican dude kept fucking with me, kept fucking with me, kept fucking with me, kept fucking with me. And I felt like he was interfering in my spiritual growth. You feel what I'm saying? Because he didn't like what I was saying on my channel. Had nothing to do with him. The only thing what pissed him off, he was a mental case. But what pissed him off was the fact that I said that some Mexicans and Hispanics can be racist, which they can. Which they can. And he took that and started a campaign against me, kept fucking with me, just kept doing a bunch of shit. He had multiple troll accounts, was doing all types of shit. That is demonic. I didn't even know who this dude was. That is demonic. This dude was much younger than me as well. So you know what I did? I said, okay. I had to return all of that bullshit to him. I had to do spell work on that dude because I felt like he was getting involved in my journey. And the thing is, he didn't live that far from me. He lived not that far from me. So I had to give him a dose of my crazy. He didn't live that far from me. And I actually went to where he lived at. He doesn't know it. But I found out where him and his family lived at in Silver Spring, Maryland. And I got a ride and went up there. And I went around where his house was or where they lived at. He never knew that. I never came back to YouTube and told nobody that. But I'm telling you, when I feel as though that you're a threat to me and my spiritual journey, there's nothing I won't do. There's nothing I won't do. See, he never knew that. I went to where he lived at and I put something near where he lived. It was at night. Now, I never told nobody that. I put something, let's just say that. I put something where he lived. He never knew it. I also found out where his mother worked. She worked at Macy's. I believe it was Macy's or Sears, one of those stores. I think it was Macy's. Because he was getting involved in my spiritual journey. See, when I get on here, this is my spiritual journey. This is my occultism. This is my work right here. Because I have the gift of gab. I have the gift of gab. This is what I do because I'm the occult view. And I always give my occult assessments on things. So I went to that person's house. I sure did. And I put something right there in now I didn't go to his door. I ain't go to his door. I ain't do that. But I went to where he lived. I saw where he lived. And I put something near the grass and the walkway and stuff like that. I put something right there. And guess what happened? He's no longer on YouTube anymore. I don't even know if he's alive anymore. I don't know. But I don't fucking play. I may laugh and joke, but I don't motherfucking play. Not when it comes to my spiritual journey. And I know this may sound a little bit so-called demonic, but in the movie Hellraiser, I think it was Hellraiser Bloodline, remember they summoned that demon, Angelique, from hell, and she gave them wealth, she gave them youth, and basically immortality. But the only thing was, if you stood in hell's way, she would have to fuck you up. She asked the guy who summoned her, she said, look, I want to visit America because they were over in France. She said, I want to visit America. Now remember, he summoned this demon over 200 years ago, or over like 180 years prior. Okay? Over 180 years prior. So he was alive in the 17 or 1800s. But he still looked like the same young guy that he did back then because this demon had given him youth and prosperity and all of that other shit. But the only thing was, she said, look, you can never stand in hell's way. That is the number one rule. You never stand in hell's way. So this demon wanted to visit America. And he told her, fuck America. And she was like, is that your final answer? She was like, that's your final answer? He said, yeah. And she killed his motherfucking ass. The point that I'm making is that it is dangerous to involve yourself in another person's spiritual journey or to try to interfere or hinder that person's spiritual journey. That is dangerous. That is dangerous. And you can't do that. If you don't like what a person is saying, you need to just stay in the background and mind your motherfucking business. Don't try to throw no work at the person because you don't know what they may got for you. And that's the problem with a lot of people. That's the problem. And that is where you draw the line with demonic stuff, versus your own magic. When you're being spiteful, petty, and jealous. Jealousy is a demon. That's a demonic spirit. Spitefulness is a demonic spirit, especially when it's without cause. If someone hasn't done anything to you, if someone has never done anything to you, then why are you being spiteful towards them if you're not being influenced by another fucking energy? But the thing is, here's the thing. That is why a lot of times people call on deities, because deities, a lot of them, they outrank those demons in hierarchy. So when people call on the name of Jesus or plead the blood of Jesus, that's because that name is a hierarchy. That energy is a hierarchy. It's really a feminine energy. It's really a feminine, powerful energy. Christ's energy is really feminine energy. And I know a lot of people don't want to accept that, but that's a black feminine energy. Okay? That's a black feminine energy. It's not a masculine energy. It's a black feminine energy. But when people call on those higher deities and those higher hierarchies that can basically tame those demons and get them the fuck up off of you and back them the fuck up and back that energy up, or balance that energy out within you. And what will end up happening is whatever demon that you're working with, if that energy, I'm speaking in layman, if that demon, if that particular demon feels as though that its back is against the wall, and you're working with that demon, and a person calls in a deity to handle that, and if that demon feels like its back is against the wall, guess what? It will turn on you. It will turn on you. I've seen it happen. You see it happen with a lot of these Hollywood people. That is why some of them don't have long careers. That's why some of them die. Because they were dealing with certain demonic energies that ended up turning on them. Because they either couldn't keep up, they didn't keep up with the contract, or couldn't fulfill the contract rather, or they were doing shit and somebody called a higher hierarchy on them and that demon turned on them. And then people can go to other demons in higher hierarchies and say, hey, look, XYZ, you cannot get involved in other people's spiritual journey. And that is what my friend was trying to do to me. Until I had to break it down to him, I said, listen, you can't do that. You can't do that. You're entitled to your feelings, but you're not entitled to your facts. You are entitled to your opinions, but you are not entitled to your facts. You're not entitled to your facts. I'm anointed. I am anointed. And even though, I don't really practice Christianity, but that's my foundation, I'm not going to throw that away. Because sometimes you have to still plead on the blood of Jesus. But I do it on my terms, not on no funky breath black preacher's terms. Not on no church's terms, but on my terms. Nothing against the church. I'm not attacking the church. I'm attacking the residents up under it, and how they try to use their belief systems to harm other people. You can have your beliefs. But when it interferes, when you get in hell's way, and I'm being metaphorical and allegorical when I say that, when you get in hell's way, that is the problem. And when I say hell's way, once again, I'm being metaphorical. When you get in another person, when you get When you interfere, excuse me, when you interfere in another person's spiritual journey, you're putting yourselves in harm's way, especially when they didn't ask you for it. Now, if I come to you and I ask you to help me, that's something totally different. But if I didn't ask for any help, you need to mind your motherfucking business. You need to mind your motherfucking business. Just like that crackhead bitch I had to get straight. She interfered in my reality. And that bitch got dealt with. Just like that fucking Mexican nigga on YouTube that used to fuck with me. He interfered in my reality and got dealt with. He didn't, like I said, he didn't even know I had been to his motherfucking place where he lived at. He didn't even know that. And then after that, never heard from him again on YouTube. Never heard from him again. Just like that white racist bitch that was threatening me here on YouTube a few years ago. She was trying to pose as the Mexican guy. And my spirit told me, those messages that you're getting threatening you, that's not coming from a male. That's coming from a female, a white woman, who was a morbidly obese woman living in Louisville, North Carolina. I found out all of her information because my spirit fed it to me. I found out she had gastric bypass, that she was 5'5", over 300 pounds. I found out where she worked. I found out her medical history. See, this is what my voodoo do for me. And I'm saying voodoo to be layman. This is what my magic does for me. I did that work on that white bitch, never heard from her again. You don't interfere in another person's spiritual path. And y'all motherfuckers out there who keep fucking with people and interfering in their spiritual journey, you're going to get enough of it. Then you wonder why you can't get out the bed. Then you wonder why you can't walk. You wonder why you having all these motherfucking pains and aches and wonder why, why this happening to me? You wonder why you only in your early 40s and early 50s and all this shit fucking coming down on you. There's certain things you should not be going through in your 40s and 50s. That's still young. That's still young. It may not be a spring chicken, but you're still in the ages of being young. I don't believe in middle age. You're still young. You got motherfuckers walking around here in their 30s with fucking pacemakers and, all these health problems and all this shit that's going on with them. Why is that? Now, some of it is because of their genetic makeup. I get that. But some of it is because whose journey were you interfering in? Who were you fucking with? Did you stand in hell's way? And did their demons have to take you out? You wonder why you can't keep no money in your pocket. You wonder why you can't keep a relationship. You wonder why you can't do this. You wonder why you can't do that. You wonder why you're in and out of the doctor's office all the time, whether it be a mental doctor or a physical doctor. You wonder why. Because you're standing in someone else's way, or you're interfering in someone else's journey. And you don't know what type of spirits that person may have backing them up, even if they don't know it. Even if they don't know it. It's called mind your motherfucking business. Now that's demonic when you're trying to force people to do things that they don't want to do. That's demonic. And people need to understand that. Jim Jones was demonic. He was demonic. That was a demonic ass fucking man. He had a drug demon on him. He had a depression demon on him. He had a suicide demon on him. He had an egotistical demon on him. He had an abusive demon on him. He had a racist demon on him. I don't care if he adopted black children or not. He had a superiority demon on him. He was afflicted by many different legions. And he didn't have the altar that I did. And guess what ended up happening? All of those black people that followed him to Guyana, they didn't know he was a demon until he forced them to drink that fucking cyanide, or what was it? Was a cyanide-laced Kool-Aid down there in Guyana. That is when they knew, oh, this is a demon. That is when they knew, oh, this is a demon. We're dealing with a demon. And guess who his motherfucking inspiration was? Another cult leader, a black man, Father Divine. That was his inspiration, allegedly. So I just wanted to come through, and I just wanted to just talk a little bit more, about what I was talking about, earlier, and just to say, I have compassion. And when you have compassion for people that you care about, I'm not talking about having compassion just for no rant. No, that's not realistic for me. For me, it's not realistic because I don't like everybody like that. But I do have compassion for people that, that I care about or that I have a liking for. Like my play little brother in the UK, I got compassion for him. Like some of the brothers that I talk to, behind the scenes, I have compassion for them. As long as they don't get me wrong, you know. But I'm joking, but I have compassion for them. But when you're up under demonic possession, you don't have no motherfucking compassion for nobody. Especially if you're up under a demon of spite. But usually those types of people, they end up self-destructing all on their own. Without you having to do anything. So understand what demonic activity is. Understanding that's why I wanted to come through. Not for you, not really for you all that watch me, but I'm just making this video for people like my friend to understand that demonic activity goes way beyond anything that you all can think. And it has nothing to do with a skull. It has nothing to do with a black candle. It has nothing to do with any of those things. Because black actually is not a negative color. Black actually banishes negativity. If you want to be layman, it can do other things too, but I'm not really getting into that. Because I ain't getting paid for this motherfucking shit. I'm not getting paid for my wisdom on here, which I really, if you want to know more, you're going to have to pay me. For a consultation, if that's what you want. I don't do the fluffy fairy tale shit. I don't do any of that. So, have your shit together before you contact me if that's what you want to do. I'm not worried about that. I like how things are going. And like I said, I have compassion. I have compassion because I understand he doesn't understand. I get it. He doesn't understand right now. But I tried to give him as much understanding as I possibly could about, the energies that I work with. And I only work with one demonic energy, and that is for knowledge and wisdom. And, that's for knowledge, excuse me, for knowledge. So, well, that particular demonic energy is also a deity, a slash deity. There's some daemons that are deities as well. So there's so many different hierarchies and hybrids with even within the demonic realm, you know? And you have to understand that. But being ignorant can get you fucked up. If you don't understand something, and my friend actually said, well, can you explain it to me? I was pissed off at him when he asked me to explain it that night. So later on that day, I came back and I explained it again. Excuse me, drinking some water. So later on that night, I came back and I explained it again. And I told him, I said, what you saw has nothing to do with demons. And I explained to him, I said, I don't worship deities. I don't do deity worship. I don't worship deities. That's not what I do. I don't worship anything outside of me. The only thing that I would worship is maybe my ancestors. I would worship them. But I don't worship deities. That is against my personal religion. That is against my religion. I don't worship deities. You can have respect for deities. You can have a rapport with them. You can even give them offerings if there's something that you want from them, a certain energy that you want from them. You know? But I don't worship deities. So I just wanted to say that. And there was something else I wanted to talk about too. What else did I want to talk about? You see that situation brewing with Martell Holt and Sheree Whitfield. And see, this is a prime example of what I'm talking about. Martell Holt has a demon on him. He's working with a demon. He's working with the demon of deception. Now, here is a man who was on Carlos King's show doing all types of gazy types of stuff. He's supposed to be straight, right? Isn't Martell Holt supposed to be straight? He's on Carlos King's show doing all types of gazy stuff because truth be told, I thought Martell Holt, I thought he was a little sweet. Like a lot of those men in Atlanta and in that fucking circle. I thought he was sweet. I thought he had a little sugar in his tank or that twinkle, twinkle little star in his eye. And there's some alleged allegations that I'm really not going to get into that he doesn't like gay people or he's homophobic. But you're sitting up on a show with a whole gay man, allowing this gay man to basically make you look like you could possibly be gay. Playing all these gazy games and shit. But a respectable gay couple like your ex-wife's brother, you have an issue. I can understand you not wanting him to watch your children and all that. I get that. Whatever. Those are your children. You have your reasons. I ain't interfering in that. But why do you have an issue with gay people is my question. When you are part of a gay network, I don't get that. But that's because he's part of that demonic deception. He's part of that demonic deception. Now, he told people recently Sheree Whitfield was not his type, right? Didn't he say that Sheree was not his type? And now he's back with her while causing problems for the ex-wife? But told people Sheree wasn't his type. And Sheree, you gonna go back with this dude? You're gonna get up under that demonic energy, that demonic, deceptive, spiteful energy? And then you wonder why you keep getting fucked up or fucked over. Interesting. Very interesting. But that's a prime example of demonic energy. Playing all of these games with people. When you play games with people, that's demonic. That is demonic energy. Playing cat and mouse games with people. That's demonic. Playing mind games with people. That's demonic. And you know, black men are very, very, very fluent and well known for doing shit like this. Black men play a lot of demonic games. I don't care who it offends. They play a lot of demonic games with people. They play a lot of demonic games with people's mind, with people's emotions. That's demonic. When you're telling one woman over here, oh, I do love you. I do love you. But then you go into, or well, not love you, but I want to be with you, or you're dating her and you're having sex with her, getting her all wrapped up into you, and then you go into social media and lie and say, oh, this woman is not my type. Or you get a woman all dickmatized, you're dicking her down real good. Prime example. Let me give you a prime example of what I'm talking about. That movie, A Thin Line Between Love and Hate, that's an old movie. Some of you millennials may not remember that, but I don't know if I'm a millennial or Generation X. I think I'm a millennial, but I'm an old millennial, okay? That movie, A Thin Line Between Love and Hate, a lot of people would think that Lynn Whitfield was the villain. Same thing with the movie Fatal Attraction, but no. With Glenn Close and Michael Douglas. No. Let's go to Fatal Attraction for a moment. Michael Douglas was the real villain. He was a demon because he put his marriage in jeopardy. He deceived his wife and he kept having sex with Glenn Close's character, Alex Forrest. Now, if he would have fucked her one time and went on about his business, that would have been something different. But he didn't do that. He went back again and gave her some more of that good dick. And she got obsessed with him. But the only thing that she did was she absorbed his demonic energy and it drove her crazy. Remember, I told you all about the Alcar effect a while back with Tamar and that ugly man she was dating, that African ugly guy she was dating. And I don't care who get offended by that. He was ugly. Okay? I'm not saying African men are ugly, but that African dude was ugly as a motherfucker, okay? It was the same thing. There was an episode of Star Trek The Next Generation where this guy demonically attacked Counselor Troy. He attacked her. She began to prematurely age, and then she began to have an obsession with him. He played mind games with her, and then it caused her to prematurely age almost until she died. That's because he dumped a bunch of negative residual energy inside of her. That was demonic. That's what demons do, or people who are dealing with certain types of demons. But going back to a thin line between love and hate, Martin Lawrence's character, he was the demon. He was the bad guy. Because he played mind games with that woman. He only wanted to, he had that all planned out. That's what a demon does, isn't it? It comes to you. He came to her as someone she could trust. He came to her as someone that had a true interest in her. But what did he do? He only used her for sex. And once he realized that she was falling in love with him, which is nothing wrong with a woman falling in love with a man. There's nothing wrong with that. When he realized she was falling in love with him, he began to back off because those were not his intentions, even though that is how he presented himself. So you see, sometimes demons present themselves as one thing, but they're really something else. But she didn't find out until it was too late and her life was destroyed and she became obsessed with him and tried to kill his motherfucking ass. See, that's the deity that came out of her. So you have to look at these things in symbology. That was the deities backing him up against the wall. Because remember when she threw his ass in that water, which was symbolic of the black woman's feminine power, when she threw him in that water and was getting ready to electrocute him, he said, "A nigga apologize." That was her putting that demon's back to the wall. She was pushing that demon to the wall to rid him out of her fucking life because he deceived her. And that is a form of demonic energy. Remember, there are different hierarchies of demons. He was another deceptive demon. He was a demonic sexual demon, and he only wanted to feed off of her energy, only for him to go be with Regina, what's her name? I think it's Regina King. Regina King's character. I forgot the character's name. But Martin Lawrence was the demon in his character, not him, but his character was symbolic of demonic deception. He came to her with flowers. He came to her with all these sweet nothings. He came to her with some good fucking sex. But once he realized that she was falling in love with him, that is when he backed away from her. That is demonic. That's demonic. That's demonic deception. And a lot of black men are really well fluent in that type of energy. So demonic shit is not always a one-dimensional thing. I think too many people have taken The Exorcist and other movies that presented demons as possessing people in that aggressive way. I'm not saying that that doesn't happen. But what I'm saying is that there's much more to demonology than what people understand. There are all types of demons that influence people. And when you really examine the movie's Fatal Attraction and A Thin Line Between Love and Hate, you can see the demonology within that. Coming to a woman like, oh, I'm so into you. I want to be with you. I love you. Only to find out you just wanted to get some pussy. But then again, her character of Brandy, she didn't realize that Darnell was a demon until it was too late. But in that movie, he brought out the deity in her. He brought up the deity in her that checked his motherfucking ass in a way that he did not even see coming. Now, I'm not saying she should have stalked him and did all that. I'm not agreeing with that. But I'm just showing you on a symbolic level how certain demonic energies and demonic activity works. A lot of times it's too late. By the time you figure out you didn't let a demon in your life, it's too late. It is too late. And see, one thing about deities, at least some deities will warn you, hey, listen, when you fuck with me, this is what you're going to get, X, Y, and Z. See, demons are deceptive. Some demons are deceptive. That's why they tell people not to really work with demons, because some of them can be tricksters and deceptive. And a lot of black men, you've become tricksters and deceptive. That's why you got to smoke all that motherfucking weed all the motherfucking time. That fake fucking weed that they've made legal just for you. There's no power in being a low-level demon, especially when it's without consciousness or light or knowledge. But those movies are a good study to understand certain forms of demonology and how people can get caught up. Same thing with that episode of Star Trek: The Next Generation, Man of the People. I believe that's the name of the episode. I think it's called Man of the People, where Counselor Troy, she got caught up because he came to her as a friend in need after his so-called mother died, but come to find, his name is Ambassador Alcar, but come to find out Malar was not even his fucking mother. That was the woman he brought on the Enterprise who had aged prematurely. That wasn't even his mother. That was another victim, the same way he victimized Counselor Troy. She was his first victim, or at least we thought. I wish they would do a backstory on him and his species. So, this is all part of making your shit work for you. When somebody tries to throw shit at you, see what I'm doing now? What I told you all earlier? My friend tried to throw some shit at me about my spiritual shit. He tried to throw some shit at me. So I'm taking that shit and I'm making it into something that works for me. And this is what you have to do. And this is what sparked this conversation. I just wanted to speak more on that. But again, now that I really sit back in it, I understand why he is the way that he is. So that is why I have compassion for him. I don't dismiss what he did. I don't agree with what he did, but I have compassion. Demons don't have no compassion. So you can never say that I'm possessed. Because if I was possessed, trust me, baby, trust me, honey, if I was possessed, y'all probably wouldn't be hearing me talk right now, because I probably would be in somebody's motherfucking jail. But I'm not going to jail over no motherfucking nigga. I'm not doing that. The only time I would go to jail and tap into something that would put me there is if somebody did something to my mother or somebody that I really, really love and care about. That is the only time that I would put myself in a predicament where I wouldn't give a fuck. You fuck with my mother, you fuck with anybody that I love, then that is when I would go to jail or to hell. To jail or hell. One of them. And I'm going to take that motherfucking person with me. Like that Mexican dude. I showed up at his motherfucking house and he didn't even fucking know it. Because he was interfering with my spiritual journey. And you don't do that. You don't do that. You don't do that. I'm not wasting my time getting my pretty face, because I do have a pretty face, okay? I'm not wasting my time getting my pretty gorgeous face fucked up. Ain't no fighting and none of that shit. I don't do any of that, honey. Just think about that. And for the people that really rock with me, this message is for you so you can know how to combat these people who come for you or who come for your path, no matter what it is. That is a serious infraction. Because if you attack my spirituality, that's like attacking my consciousness. And that cannot be tolerated. Anyway, I think I've talked enough about this. You all go take your vitamin B12. I've always wanted to say that. But anyway, this is the occult view, and this is what I do. This is what I do, you know. I break down shit. I talk about it. I bring aspects of my own life here so people can understand there's no fear here. Because what I put out about my life, I ain't ashamed to talk about. There's no shame and there's no fear here. And I think that that is a problem too with a lot of black people. A lot of us live in fear and shame, and we don't want to talk about our personal lives. Sometimes you have to. I would be a fraud if I did not. I would be a fraud if I sat up here and tried to act like everything is perfect. If everything is motherfucking perfect, then you must not be living. You must not be living. Negative energy and positive energy are necessary. It keeps a necessary balance. And if you love living, then you're going to have to love both aspects or both polarities of life sometimes, even if you don't like it. Because out of that argument or that disagreement that I had with my friend, I think that brought us even closer together. I think that brought us even closer together, even with everything that happened. I think that brought us even closer together. And then it got you two series. It got me talking about two series. I made one video earlier and I'm making another one today. I ain't been this talkative in a long time. But I think the key to all of this is understanding and having compassion. And once things calmed down, I went to my friend, I put my arm around him, and we just sat there and we talked. And I was honest with him about how he made me feel. And we talked. And once we talked, there was understanding. So if you're in a relationship with someone, or if you have a partner, whatever, you're married, whatever, nothing is going to be perfect. But just talk. Just talk. I had to put my big boy pants on. I had to put my pride aside. Because obviously I have love for this person. So I just went and talked. Yeah, we say hurtful things sometimes to each other, you know. But it's a lot of testosterone in this house. We're both men. You know, it's a lot of testosterone. Sometimes things happen. But it doesn't mean I don't love him. And it doesn't mean he ain't got love for me. You know what I'm saying? But you don't attack other people's spirituality. You don't do that. And if you have compassion for someone, I'm not talking about them motherfuckers I mentioned earlier. I don't have no compassion for them. No, no compassion for them. But if it's somebody that you love, you should have compassion enough to explain to them what's going on. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I did. That's what I did. Anyway, remember, always create the reality that you want, no matter what it is. Always create your reality. You either create your reality or one will be created for you. Create your own reality. And I choose to create a reality that has as much peace and balance in it as possible. And you cannot have balance without negativity. Negativity has its place too, but you just don't let it run amok in your life. And I don't let that shit run amok in my life. And if I see somebody that's going to be bringing a bunch of negativity or some type of motherfucker that just wants to be a fucking needy, greedy person, I get them motherfuckers out my life. Period. Period. Anyway, that's all I have to say. Thank you.